definitely was a session and a half. I think we've seen that there's an influx of female hormones, given the fact that there was a very charismatic gentleman in the conversation. It was the ex-Prime Minister of Canada.
Justin Trudeau.
Yes.
Wow.
Were you also impressed?
I was. As always, they are so much taller in real life. Yeah, someone who's only 5'6", someone who's 6'4", which is Justin Trudeau.
That's true.
You can see why, and there's a magnetism. I think what was really special about that is discerning that, hearing it, but then the quality that he and his chief of staff were talking about. Yeah, I found myself recording things because I wanted to hear their answers to use him. So
I also recorded things as well. I think that it was a coincidence that we actually ended up in a talk about leadership.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't have the intention of coming here to end up in a talk about leadership. It wasn't something that I personally targeted, but I found it extremely enriching to hear both from a female and male perspective, and they've just walked past us. Yeah, they're walking right past us at the moment. I think it was coincidental. I'm very much a believer on take things as they come. We came to Davos, didn't have too many expectations, and we ended up in a wonderful session about leadership.
Yeah.
Both from the perspective of a female and a male, but also from an angle of empowerment through masculine identity. So he certainly admitted that he was an active feminist, and for a man to identify with that term is quite interesting as well.
I think the permission that he found and explained to be a feminist, having been told that he couldn't be a feminist, could just be an ally. That landed for me. We'd been using the language, and this was fascinating to see him and his chief of staff as a partnership. And that was a moment for me talking about whatever they do going forward. It's not former Prime Minister, chief of staff, it's we're partners, we're best friends, we're going to explore what we can do to have it out. And I think that's part of what really fascinated that theme. What is collaboration look like? You and I were having this
we're having that conversation about collaboration.
Yeah, and for me, there's a lot of male-dominated leadership energy, which is competition-focused. Leadership means being me first. Leadership means to them. And yet, we're missing what we found in this room, very much so. How do you find that?
So I think that what was actually interesting, it made me think of the dynamics between, as you've highlighted, a male and a female. And also in terms of leadership, is it important that you do have that collaborative element and also that element of support? I've seen in my own career and also my own journey in leadership that it's certainly of essence that you have that elevation and identity in a partnership, not necessarily from a masculine perspective, but just someone there that can really make sure that there is that collaborative aspect and that opportunity for reflection. And I think that having that, and you identified that in that dynamic, I certainly did, that they were a partnership. And that's an opportunity for mirroring elements that are important in leadership as well. Active listening was something that they also mentioned as well, which I feel is not always a strength actively at the moment of a lot of leaders. Maybe you've experienced that in your research about leadership.
I think in talking to the leaders I have, so I spent the last year interviewing 105 leaders, I'm going to continue to do that in 2026. Those leaders that have had success have been the ones who pause, who reflect, who choose to listen. And there's a humility to some of that. What am I doing? I'm stepping back in order to, what is the perspective in the room? What is the other lived experience that I have no conception of? Can we bring that into the space, and can we turn that into the wisdom of collaboration rather than just, here's the strategy, let's go after it. So I think that showed up in a lot of the conversations, not all. And I said to you earlier about I was disappointed that of the 105 people I interviewed, only 17 were women.
Yeah, exactly.
But that may be reflective of where we are. It's not necessarily where we want to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes.
Also, I mean, the conversation at the end, it was about, someone asked, what do we need at the moment in society for women to fulfill their potential? Yeah. And a lot of it is having the courage and also the opportunity and the permission, going back to your permission element, to say yes, yet to say yes more. And there's still a lot, I think, in society where women are afraid to actually stand up and say yes, especially when it is in a leader position, and there is that element of competitive in a more male-dominated environment.
Yeah.
So I found it extremely encouraging when she ended the session with, it's important to say yes, it's important to embrace your femaleness, hesitate, let, and just explore.
And I want to draw a distinction there, because I mentioned about pausing and reflecting. It doesn't mean that's a hesitation. A pause is an intentional, what's going on here? How do I take the temperature of me, the room, the situation? But the stepping into it, I think what Katie said, the chief of staff, the Canadian government was, you know, you might be invited into the room, but if the chair's somewhere else, how do you get to the table? Don't hesitate to step up to the table, bring your chair and say, I am in this conversation. Exactly, You can tell I'm a bit energized by hearing that. So that was a really cool moment.
What do you think most people took away from the conversation?
What do I think most people took away?
To me, you were probably in the minority in that room.
It's interesting.
Tables have turned.
Certainly, well, if I am commenting on the energy in the room, I think possibility and yes, I can take my place. I was beginning to feel that energy show up. How did it feel? I don't know what people took away from it, but I hope they took away from me the idea that yes, I can. And I hope that turns into I will. And then I hope, coming to your point you made earlier, that actively they go and solicit support to help them follow through with it. I will take my place. I will use my voice. I will not hesitate. I will bring my unique skills and gifts and talents and voice and lived experience to critical decisions, especially in this AI.
So I was supercharged myself. I think that firstly, being in an environment is one of the things that I'm thankful that the Female Quotient actually do extremely well. Is that being in an environment where there is that supercharged also familiarity with individuals that are not necessarily the same as you, but they are the same gender. So in that sense, there's always that innate and subconscious naturalness of being around the female energy. And I think that having an avenue to submerge in that female energy is something that is unique. It's not always available. And it's opportunities like this that give females and males a chance to immerse themselves in that, and I think get a little bit of energy that's sometimes missing from a lot of the environments. So I believe that a lot of the women and the men in that room were positively charged by the experience. The discourse, both from the ex-Canadian Prime Minister and his chief of staff, was extremely positive. And I don't think that there was an agenda to supercharge the room in positivity. I think it was just a natural progression based on what was spoken about and their interaction and collaboration, as you said.
Yeah. And I saw no performative nature to their relationship. I saw an authentic relationship that's been battle tested, it has been. And I think that was a model for one of something else. I took that away from you. It was just fascinating to see that partnership working well and being deliberately positioned to inspire, equip, encourage others. So that inspired me with hope.
So let's end on that hope and positive.
Indeed.
Definitely was a session and a half.
Well, thank you.
Inspiring day.
No,
thank you.
Spending this time with you today. It's been so fun.
Yeah.
So looking forward to more.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Donna.
Thanks. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. And it's so important making the invisible visible, but I gotta tell you, you're visible. See yourself first and don't step back and step out. Hello, leader in AI. You're all here, right? Not complicated, but it is about making it possible. Even if you don't think it is if you want it. So thank you for putting the spotlight on that.